We had an unbelievable weekend of FA Cup football, but I am ecstatic that we've got Championship football in midweek. We've got 8 games playing in midweek, so not every club's playing in midweek, but we've got 8 cracking fixtures to go through. In terms of a shout out, some of you left score predictions, but none of them were correct, sadly, so I won't be including anyone's comment and you won't be getting a shout out. I got 2 correct predictions as of now. I managed to get the Hull and Chelsea game correctly. Knowing me as a Chelsea fan, I never tend to get Chelsea games wrong. And I also got the Southampton and Spurs game correctly to finish 1-1 and to go into a replay. I didn't manage to get any other games correct though, so my aim is just to do a little bit better in the next round of the FA Cup. If you do want to have a chance for a shout out, you just simply have to leave your score predictions in the comments. If you get one right, your comment will be included in the collage of how many other correct predictions I have in this video. And whoever gets the most correct predictions will have their channel shown in the eye icon up there, so that'll be my form of a shout out. So all of you have a chance to get yourself out there. This video is going to be in 3 parts, so this is a monster of a video to go to. The first part's going to see me predicting the next 8 championship games that'll be taking place on Tuesday in midweek. The second part is going to be a very short part. It's going to be my genuine reaction of what I saw with Stoke versus Swansea, the one championship game this weekend. And the third part is become a bit of a tradition. You're going to see me draw the 5th round of the FA Cup, my version of the 5th round. I'm not going to do that draw until Shrewsbury play Liverpool. When that game is done, then I'll start the draw. If you like what you see, you want to see more championship content from me, please make sure you do give this video a like. It is massively appreciated. We're on 92 subscribers at the moment, so 100 subscribers is in sight. We're nearly there. Share the channel to as many fans and as football fans as you can. All of that will be fantastically appreciated. But also, please press the subscribe button if you're new around here, or if you haven't done. That would really make my day. And even if you want to pop in early for a video, make sure you hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of my videos. If you guys want to ask me any questions related to football that I may not cover in this video, you can always ask me on Twitter. My Twitter is on the screen now. You can also go to the description down below where I leave my full Twitter. You could tweet me or message me. I don't care whichever way. But I hope we get some correct predictions. I want to make some new additions to this new Lexus Hall of Fame design. I absolutely love it. Hopefully we'll get some change in it, and hopefully we may get some new additions. Without any further ado, we've got 8 great games to go through. Let's predict what I think is going to happen in Championship midweek. So we're going to start off with Blackburn going against Queen's Park Rangers. Blackburn will be well rested in this game, actually not having a game in midweek either. They're going to be very well prepared for this game, having over 10 days rest. With Queen's Park Rangers, they had to play in the FA Cup this weekend. They played on Friday, so they've got a little bit more rest than most of the other Championship teams that have to play midweek. They, however, lost at Loftus Road against Sheffield Wednesday, where they were pretty poor throughout the game, and it was quite a rotated side. However, it really took them a while to get going. Sheffield Wednesday got the game plan spot on. It wasn't the best game to watch. There weren't that many shots on target. Morgan Foss for Sheffield Wednesday, I think, scored the first shot on target in that game. Whilst it was a poor game overall, Sheffield Wednesday did well to get the victory. Queen's Park Rangers didn't get really a response until Naki Wells got a goal in the 93rd minute. As with Blackburn and these two sides, they played each other in the reverse fixture. It was a 4-2 victory to Queen's Park Rangers. It was a very entertaining game with 4 different goal scorers for Queen's Park Rangers as well. Blackburn did get 2 goals out of it, and I think they'll be more confident being at Ewood Park as well, following that they have not lost in 9 home games, so they've got a really strong home form as it stands. Queen's Park Rangers have lost 3 away games in a row, so they're not in the best run of form away from home. And following the head-to-head record between these two sides, Blackburn winning their last 2 home meetings against Queen's Park Rangers, I think I'm going to continue with that trend and say Blackburn get a 2-1 home victory. I think it'll be close, and I think Queen's Park Rangers will make it difficult, but Blackburn have got a much tighter defence, and despite Queen's Park Rangers probably having a much better attack, I don't think it'll make it count because I think they'll be too open at the back. So I'm going to say a 2-1 home victory to Blackburn. Really looking forward to this game. We've got a promotion 6-pointer on our hands with Brentford going up against Nottingham Forest. Brentford had to play in the FA Cup on Saturday against Leicester City. To be fair, I think in the first half, I think they were blown away by Leicester. Leicester made a load of changes to when they beat West Ham by 4-1. When I made my prediction for Brentford to win by 2-1, there was one player in my mind who I thought could ruin that, and that was Kieran Iheanacho, and he was that guy. He was the difference and got the only goal in that game, and Leicester won 1-0. To be fair to Brentford, they did quite well in the second half and actually restrained a couple of chances. Danny Ward, the second choice keeper in Leicester's goal, had to make a couple of fantastic saves, including one fantastically struck volley. And Mbeumo, when he eventually got on in the 75th minute, I believe, he almost made an instant impact. I think if he was introduced a little bit sooner, Brentford could have had a slight chance of forcing a replay, because I think Leicester were on the ropes a little bit. They face a Nottingham Forest side who is not going to be as relaxed as Blackburn were, because they did have to play in midweek against Reading. They were leading Reading by 1-0, but they were pegged back once again by Reading. And I think if they want to continue with the promotion charge, they need to try and stop drawing, but to win games more. That was their one game in hand, and they really missed an opportunity because they were in full control of that game, and Reading, practically out of nothing, got back into it. In a reverse fixture, it was quite a quiet game, although Nottingham Forest did win by 1-0, with Ben Watson being the only difference in that game. I'd say he's actually had quite a good season, quite underrated, I think, with the impact he's managed to put on Nottingham Forest so far this season. I think he's been a huge contribution to why Nottingham Forest are up there, along with the manager. But as with Brentford, they are doing really well for themselves right now. This is a really tight game to call, because Brentford 6 home wins in a row in the Championship. With Nottingham Forest, they've not lost in their last 6 either, so both these sides on really strong runs of form. Really tight. I don't see many goals in this game, actually. I think Nottingham Forest sometimes have really been quite threatening away from home because they like to play on the counter-attack. I think Brentford will be very open, very expansive. They'll play their possession type of football, but they'll ultimately play with set pieces as well. It worked wonders when they beat Queen's Park Rangers. As of this game, this is so tight. I'm going to say it will be a 1-0 home victory to Brentford, but I'm not that convinced. But Brentford in the Championship have won 6 home games in a row, so I really shouldn't be backing for something else, really. But it is Nottingham Forest, and they could surprise people. You just need to catch them on a good day, and then Nottingham Forest could completely run all over you. I could be wrong with this one, that's all I'm going to say. Let me know what you think. So next up, we have Cardiff going up against West Brom. I actually think this will be a closer game to predict than most people may expect. Both of these sides will be in and around the same in terms of fatigue, because they both played in the FA Cup and both at a 3 o'clock kickoff. Cardiff's game against Reading will have to go to a replay. I predicted a 0-0 draw in this game. It ended as a 1-1 draw, so it wasn't far off. I got the right result out of it. I think Cardiff more or less deserved it a little bit more. I think both teams overall were just a little bit flat in that game, which is what I kind of expected, but the goals just completely flew in at the start, with Patterson and Matey managing to cancel each other out. Very poor in the game when I was hearing that there was really offensive chanting going on by the Cardiff fans, really unacceptable. Just why? Hopefully that moves on when they've got to welcome West Brom, when they, as a side, have really struggled. Their 2 wins so far in 2020 have both come in the FA Cup, but they've got a fantastic victory against West Ham. I saw the game in brief parts of it. They were absolutely terrific. They really did turn West Ham over, and it actually made them look like the Championship side. So I'm almost thinking whether I should prepare talking about West Ham next season. Hopefully not, because I do have a load of friends supporting West Ham. But it was Townsend who got the goal, and West Brom did very well to keep to that lead, and Slaven Bilic got the last laugh over his older club. Following this game though, in the reverse fixture, it was a fantastic game. It was a 4-2 home victory to West Brom. I remember that game. Pereira was absolutely immense. The likes of Howard Robson, Cardinal doing really well as well. Everyone in that West Brom side were really good. Attacking wise, West Brom looked so dangerous. I remember also Cardiff were kind of forcing a late comeback. They got 2 very late goals out of it, but West Brom kept their 2-goal margin, and they were overall quite comfortable. Following this game though, both sides have struggled to pick up points. Cardiff have started to lose their managerial bounce they got under Neil Harris coming in, which is a bit of a shame, because I did see some genuine potential on that side, and I think there's still some genuine potential in that side. They just need to be more consistent and craft out more frequent wins. West Brom, well, we don't know what they're going to do in the Championship at the moment. They've not won in the Championship so far in 2020. Only picking up 2 draws as well is not great either. And Cardiff away is not an easy game. Cardiff actually have quite a strong home record. It could play to West Brom's advantage being the underdogs. You saw what they did to West Ham when they were proving to be the underdogs in this game. However, having said that, I think this game will be a 1-1 draw. I think this will be tight. I think Cardiff will score first, but I think West Brom will fight a way to get back into it, because they do tend to do that. But with both sides not picking up many points, I don't see either of these sides winning in this fixture, so I'll go with a draw, so I'll say 1-1. So next up, we've got Hull City going up against Huddersfield Town. Hull City obviously played my boys Chelsea in the FA Cup. My overall view of Hull City, I was surprised how we managed to keep Jarrod Bowen quiet. Jarrod Bowen did not do a lot to influence the game, I thought. He had one sort of big chance, but Caballero did well to tip it over the bar. But apart from that, Bowen was kept really quiet. I think overall, especially in the first half, Hull were left very frustrated. Chelsea were really passing all over them, and I think they were almost a bit fortunate that they had George Long a goal, because they kept them in it. We could have been 3 or 4 goals up before half time, but it's been Chelsea's problem not being able to kill games. And Grzycki, as soon as he got on, I think the whole squad managed to click. I think Bowen and Grzycki both add something in terms of an attacking sense. They managed to play off them, and Grzycki got the goal from a deflected free kick. A bit fortunate how it got in the end. But overall, as soon as they got their goal, Hull were very, very good. They were really pushing Chelsea all the way to the final minute of the game. They face a Huddersfield side where themselves have got a load of pressure on their hands. Not playing last weekend, and Stoke beating Swansea have now put Huddersfield in 21st place. And the gap between them and Barnsley is not that substantial. Barnsley could easily close the gap if Huddersfield don't get a good result against Hull. I remember the reverse fixture quite vividly, actually. It was one of Huddersfield's better performances. It was their first clean sheet of the season as well, with a 3-0 home victory against Hull. Huddersfield weren't even that great in that game. It was the really early stages of Danny Cowley coming in, but it was one of the early signs that Cowley's found the winning formula with that side. To an extent, I think he has done that, but it has kind of weared off a little bit. They've been more inconsistent lately, a bit similar with Cardiff, and a bit similar in losing that managerial bounce. They're not as consistently picking up those wins, which is why they've not really recovered yet. They need a good 4 or 5 wins from the next 2 or 3 months for them to feel quite safe. Hull have done quite well against Huddersfield at home. They've managed to keep 2 clean sheets in their last 2 meetings at the KCOM Stadium. It'll be really, really tight. I'm going to say Hull would win by 1-0. I don't think there'll be many goals in this game. I think Huddersfield will put on pressure. I don't know if it'll be whether Mounier or Grant will go on. I think one of them will start, then maybe one may be substituted near the second half. But what I saw in Hull on the weekend, and I know some of the big boys did play a little bit to that game against Chelsea, they looked really, really good. And if they can play the same as they did against Chelsea, especially in the last 20 minutes against Huddersfield, I think they'll deal with Huddersfield pretty comfortably. So I'm going to say a 1-0 home victory to Hull. I think it'll be pretty close though, because Huddersfield have every chance with the quality that they have. So next game, we've got Wigan going up against Sheffield Wednesday. Wigan need to pick up points as soon as they can. Likewise with Huddersfield, they've been given a long break, but following results elsewhere, it's put them in a really dire position, and Wigan are going to have to work extra hard to try and climb out of the relegation zone and be on Barnsley's tails. As with Sheffield Wednesday, they've just turned into Hull City. They're the most inconsistent side I now know. One performance, they get beaten 5-0 by Blackburn. The less said about that game, the better for them. But then they have a terrific performance that beat Queen's Park Rangers by 2-1. And following their away from home as well, they've picked up more better results away from home than home so far. So I would say Sheffield Wednesday are the favourites. Sheffield Wednesday have actually lost more games in their last 6 than Wigan have in their last 6. And following the juxtaposition between these two clubs as well, that's actually quite surprising to me. And Wigan have picked up more points at home. However, their only win in their last 6 was actually their first away from home from the whole year. So Wigan need to definitely try to score goals, but also keep their lead. That's been their major downfall. Scoring goals has sometimes not been a problem for them, and I quote sometimes they have struggled to lack a clinical edge going forward. But in terms of the additions, especially to Kieran Dowell, I think it could be really, really important for Wigan, and they can definitely score goals. I think they've just really cheap defensively, and their game management needs to improve dramatically. As for Sheffield Wednesday, I don't know if it's a Gary Monk thing, that he's quite inconsistent in general as a manager. In Birmingham, I thought he was quite consistent, But following that, Sheffield Wednesday got a fantastic record against Wigan. And despite Wigan winning this fixture last year, I don't think Wigan are going to win. I'm going to say Sheffield Wednesday get Another 2-1 away victory. Wigan lose this game. I say they'll need to make a decision quickly about Paul Cook. I don't know whether I have anyone in mind who can really keep Wigan up, to be honest with you. Lights gone dark again. Hopefully this is much better for you, but the game I'm really looking forward to this midweek is Leeds going up against Millwall. I remember the reverse fixture very vividly. Millwall got ahead with a penalty with Berardi getting a straight red card, doing what Berardi does basically, doing a really silly challenge, and Millwall managed to grind out a 2-1 home victory, and it really did throw Leeds' momentum off a little bit, although Leeds did manage to recover for quite some time. Although Leeds, along with West Brom, are stuttering, and this might be the worst time to play Millwall. Although having said that, Leeds will feel very, very well rested. They didn't need to play in midweek last week, and also they didn't play an FA Cup game since they already got knocked out by Arsenal. Millwall, however, did have to play an FA Cup game, and they lost it against Sheffield United. A pretty convincing victory from Sheffield United at the end. They barely needed to go in second gear. Both squads were quite rotated, so it wasn't a clear representation of what the result would be if they had their stronger squads out, but Sheffield United barely need to go to second gear. They've just been absolutely incredible this season, they've completely transformed. But going back to Millwall, who have to play Leeds United, this is a quite important game for Millwall actually. If they can get a good result, they could really strengthen their chances to get into the playoffs. And with the Championship manager that helm as experienced as Gary Rowett, they should be rating every chance. As with Leeds, they do have a very poor record against Millwall in their last 6 games. Leeds have only won twice in their last 6 meetings. This game last year was a 3-2 home victory to Leeds, a real scrap of a game and a real smash and grab for Leeds respective. However, following the stuttering forms of both West Brom and Leeds, I've already done it with West Brom, I just cannot see Leeds winning, even though they should, theoretically, with the brilliant play they have in Ellen Road, they should blow every team away. I think this game they'll have many goals. I'm going to say a 2-2 draw. The last time these two sides played against each other, it was a 3-2 victory to Leeds. So I think there'll be a similar pattern. I don't think there'll be a team winning out of it. So I'm going to say a 2-2 draw. So the room has even gone even darker. I'm even thinking of putting on more lighting, but I'm keeping the lighting as the same, believe it or not. But we've got our penultimate game in midweek with Luton going up against Derby County. For me, this is a must-win game for Luton if they want any chance in survival. They are literally running out of games as of now. And their home games are going to be the formula, I think, that they are going to have to need to try and survive. They're in a really poor run of form. The confidence is really, really low. I really saw it when they played against Nottingham Forest when they went ahead. They were all happy, but it just takes one tiny consistency, one mistake to throw everything off. And it's that kind of lack of game management and leadership that's what put Luton in this position in the first place. As with Derby, they could be a bit fatigued. They did have to play against Northampton Town of League 2 away from home in midweek. But disappointingly for them, it ended as a 0-0 draw. And actually, Derby put a quite strong squad out there with Wayne Rooney playing. He couldn't really do anything to punch it through Northampton Town. And overall, it was a very flat game. Not many shots went on at goal. And Derby have got an unwanted replay. But going to that Championship form, it looks a lot more encouraging with not losing in their last 5 games now. They're starting to slowly but surely climb up the table, not winning as consistently as I think people would like them to do, and obviously with the points deduction on the horizon, they need to win as many points as they can, otherwise they could be in a really similar situation with Birmingham last year, that if they don't climb up the table soon enough, they could be in serious pressure and having to have a lot of pressure and a lot of eyes on them to perform. Otherwise, they could get relegated via a points deduction, which would really, really suck for Derby. However, following Luton's low confidence, even at home as well, even though they have picked up quite a few positive results at home quite recently, Derby, on the other hand, I think are just a completely different depth of quality, and I think their unbeaten record is going to give them the confidence to edge past Luton. So I'm going to say Derby win by 2-0. I think it'll be quite a comfortable victory for Derby and for the Rams. As with Luton, they are not going to want this result, but that's unfortunately the way I see it. But I hope Luton prove me wrong. I want them to have a great escape. It'll be fantastic for the neutral. And for the final midweek game, we've got Reading going up against Bristol City. I remember predicting this game, and I thought Bristol City were going to be quite comfortable winners, but they weren't in the end. They were actually quite uncomfortable in trying to get their win. It was a narrow 1-0 victory, and I believe, if I'm right, I think this was the last game with Jose Gomez in charge as well. I don't know if that's completely true, but I knew it was around the time when Jose Gomez was sacked, which was a real shame for me because he had a potential with Reading. However, Mark Bones come in and he has really worked wonders to really recover Reading from their dire position. Would you believe that Reading have a better defensive record than Bristol City this season? I would never have predicted that at the start of the season. The reason that Bristol City concede goals is because they concede a lot of shots due to the style that they play. It's a very open system and it allows teams to attack the opponent. It's like, you have this many shots, but we'll shoot this end, and whoever can score the most goals from their chances wins. Sometimes it can work, but if you're left frustrated with a compact defence, that style could really backfire, and it has at some stages with Bristol City this season, which is probably why they sometimes have these good games, but these poor games as well. They've won 2 games in a row, so they're in an encouraging run of form actually, and Reading have stuttered a little bit. They have not won in their last 3 games, now only picking up 2 points out of their last 3. And to follow on with that, Reading also had to play against Cardiff in the FA Cup, so there could be a bit of fatigue in that. And with Bristol City having a lot of time off, especially not playing in midweek either, they should be well rested and well prepared for this game. And with Bristol City as well, their away record has actually been quite strong. They've got one of the strongest away records in the whole league for me. It's going to be hard for me to predict a defeat against Reading following how strong they've been in their form recently. But I think Bristol City might just do it. I think it will be a 2-1 away victory to Bristol City. I think it will be a tight game and I think it will be end to end. I think Jarry will make things happen for Reading, but I think Bristol City as a squad overall will trouble Reading too much, and I think overall they'll get a 2-1 away victory. So there are all my fixtures for the 8 upcoming games in midweek for the Championship. Do you agree with me? Let me know in the comments down below. How many fixtures are you predicting this week? Let me know in the comments down below. If you get any right, of course, I'll like the comment and I'll also feature it in the video. And whoever gets the most correct predictions will get a channel shout out on the icon up there, along with some poll questions I'll also include. But now I get to the second part of the video, and that is going to be me talking about the one Saturday game, which will be very, very brief, I'll tell you, against Stoke and Swansea. So it was Stoke that managed to really make their opportunity count, to really pull themselves away from relegation zone, getting a 2-0 home victory against Swansea. And this win right now puts them 7 points clear off the drop and up to 19th place, the highest league position so far this season. It was a fantastic performance from Stoke. Swansea, I thought, were really good in the first 20 minutes. They were really forcing Jack Butland into some saves. And Jack Butland, I have to say, his previous 2 games, he's really stepped it up. But Stoke overall really tested Swansea with their pressure. They really went forward on the counter-attack as well. And they really stretched Swansea as well, really getting involved on the right-hand side of the pitch as well. Woodman had to make a couple of great saves from Klukas, but Stoke broke through first. It was a fantastic team goal, a load of one-touch passing from Powell and Joe Allen, who I thought was my man of the match, Joe Allen. He was absolutely terrific in actually winning the ball back and supplying the attacking players like Nick Powell and Sam Klukas. He was the big contribution to that. So Joe Allen's my man of the match, but following from that, he did one-touch passing with Nick Powell, managing to give it to Sam Klukas with a load of space, the former Swansea man, and struck it well, and it got past the reaching Woodman. And it's a special goal for him, obviously scoring against his former club, and he did an Adebayor moment, running to the other side of the pitch to celebrate in front of the Swansea fans. You just love to see it. The passion was just absolutely electrifying from Sam Klukas. Swansea almost had the perfect response to going behind with a free kick taken by Matt Grimes. However, his shot managed to hit the crossbar. He, I think for me, was Swansea's brightest player. He was the one that really supplied Swansea with their chances. However, Swansea, I think, just completely ran out of gas, and Stoke grew into the game. And while Swansea had their fantastic 20-minute spell, they allowed Stoke to get back into it. And as soon as Stoke got their first chance, confidence was sky high, and Stoke by then just were completely unstoppable. Stoke were probably quite fortunate to get their second goal. Mark Gueye, who obviously is making one of his first appearances for Swansea, took a poor touch on a pass, and James McLean managed to nick it from him, managed to score it past Woodman's legs, and that made it 2-0 to the home side. following the poorest home record in the league as well. This was a really surprising result for me, especially getting a clean sheet as well. I said I could easily see Stoke winning. I just wasn't sure that they were going to deal with Swansea's really good energy. And in fact, in the first 20 minutes, I was thinking, I think I've got this nailed on. I think Swansea will trouble them, but maybe not win. However, their period just completely died out for Swansea, which really surprised me. But Stoke grew into it, and they did exactly what I expected, to really trouble Swansea with their fantastic play in the midfield, from the great brilliance of Joe Allen and the brilliance of Jack Butland. So it's a great result for Stoke. For Swansea, I think it's an opportunity missed. They could have really capitalised on top 6 priorities, but we're going to have to wait and see what happens with results elsewhere. If they won, they would have gone back into the top 6, overtaking Preston. Obviously now, they've got to hope that the sides around them and the sides in the top 6 drop points. So that is the Championship table for what happened after Stoke beat Swansea. Like, there was not much change in there. This is just how the table looks. So obviously now we've got one more part of the video left, and it's become a tradition. I do my own FA Cup draw. We've got round 5. We've got 16 numbers, 32 teams left. The rules of the draw are exactly the same from round 4. A pink slip is a Premier League team. A green slip is a Championship team. A yellow slip is a League 1 team, and the very few orange slips are a League 2 team. I've got the numbers on a computer next to me, so let's run the draw. I'm only going to shake the cup once as well, so we don't have any interactions, and this is the only time I'm going to shake it. And obviously, once I pick up the numbers, I'll give my opinion with what I thought of their previous game. I'm very excited to do this draw. Let's hope I get a really good tie. I've not done a run through, so let's see if I get a really, really good draw. We start off with number 13. That is Pep Guardiola's Manchester City. Now, they did very, very well to beat Fulham by 4-0. I nearly corrected that same prediction, actually. I said 4-1 to Manchester City. The red card of Tim Ream ultimately changed the game, but Manchester City were completely dominant. Whilst Fulham tried to play out from the back, they just completely pressed them and really forced Fulham to mistakes. Scott Parker's got to have to be very, very careful, especially as if he does get them promoted to the Premier League, Manchester City will be thirsty for more. But Manchester City have got to play number 3, and that is either Southampton or Tottenham Hotspur, which was the only other prediction I actually correctly predicted in all of the FA Cup games. I predicted a 1-1 draw, and that's exactly what happened. It'll be very, very interesting, especially with Manchester City playing Spurs. They've only played each other one time in the season, obviously being a controversial VAR decision. Okay, so the next one is a Championship club. It's number 10, and that is West Brom, one of the very few Championship teams to confirm their place into the next round, beating Premier League West Ham. And I have to say, they were really, really good. I briefly mentioned West Brom doing very well against West Ham, but they really did. They were really professional about it. And their reward is a Premier League team. They've got to face number 5. And that is either against Bournemouth or Arsenal, who have to play tonight. So that's quite an interesting tie, actually. West Brom Arsenal, West Brom Bournemouth. Pretty good, pretty close tie, actually, I think. We've got another Premier League. Most of these are going to be Premier League ties now when you get into the later stages. But we've got number 11. That is Norwich City, who managed to get past Premier League Burnley. Did quite well in that game, especially in the first stages of it. But likewise, when they played against Preston in the previous round, they did allow the opposition to get a few goals back into it. But they did well to hold out the win. And they've got to face number 12. Now, the slip is yellow because it's either Birmingham or Coventry City. So obviously, Coventry being the lowest league side in the replay, the slip is yellow. But it was a very bizarre game in St Andrews. Birmingham fans being in the away stand. It was completely a bizarre game. And of course, being in true Birmingham fashion, they've got to play again. This time at home should be a very, very interesting game. Unfortunately, it was a disappointing 0-0 draw in the end. We've got another yellow slip, number 15. Now that is Portsmouth, one of the very few League One teams to confirm their place into the 5th round. They've not made it to this stage since they made the final in 2010 when they got relegated into the Premier League, would you believe it? They beat Barnsley by 4-2. Very poor performance on Barnsley's part, but an unbelievable one for Portsmouth. They look absolutely incredible in that game. And their reward is number 16, and that is either Shrewsbury or Liverpool. So Portsmouth get a home tie against either fellow League One team Shrewsbury or the Premier League leaders Liverpool. Okay, we've got number 8. That is Sheffield United, who had to narrowly beat Millwall. I briefly mentioned about Millwall already. and their reward is number 2, which is my boys Chelsea. Now, I've actually drawn Sheffield United against Chelsea in my 3rd round draw. So this is a first, drawing the same tie in 2 separate rounds. Would be a tough tie if it were to be real life though. Again, it's another pink slip, number 1. And that is Manchester United, who had to get past Tranmere Rovers by 6-0. Jesse Lingard finally scoring his first goal this season. And their reward is a championship number 9. And that is Reading or Cardiff, who have to face a replay. They both had to face a replay in their last round, and against each other, they had to face a replay as well. Now, I believe there's only 1 or 2 ties left. So, we first have number 6. It's our only orange, which means it can only be 1 tie. Northampton or Derby County. Northampton doing very well to restrict Derby. As I said, I've already briefly mentioned Derby, how I didn't think they were really great in that game. And their reward is number 14, and that is Newcastle or Oxford United. Obviously, the yellow slip being Oxford in League 1. Newcastle have to go to another replay against another League 1 team. It must be really frustrating for Newcastle. But Oxford did very, very well to hold Newcastle. I thought they played the game plan really well. And I think there is only 1 tie left. Got number 7, Leicester, championship number 4. And that is Sheffield Wednesday to finish off the draw. Okay, quite interesting. Not as entertaining as it was in my 4th round draw, I think. But I say the best draw was Man City against Southampton or Tottenham. I think that's a really, really good one. Sheffield United, Chelsea, I think is another really, really good one as well. Couple of interesting ties in there. But once again, this is not going to be the real life tie. I'll be very impressed if I get some ties spot on for what they'll be in real life. But what I want to know is that looking back at my draw and what the draw is in real life right now, would you take my draw or would you take the real life draw? Let me know in the comments down below. I believe that wraps it up for today's video somehow. If your team's playing the midweek in the championship, what do you think of your team's chances? Let me know in the comments down below. I'll be very interested. As I said, if you want to ask me any more about football, my Twitter is in the description down below. Check it out if you want. Follow me if you want. And you can message me or tweet me, whatever you want to prefer. That's a wrap. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys like what you see, please make sure you do hit that like button. It is massively appreciated. Make sure you do share this video and this channel around to as many football fans and championship fans as you can. We love to grow a community. We've nearly got 100 members of this community, so it'll be fantastic if that could be the case. And please subscribe if you haven't, or if you're new around here. All of that will be fantastically appreciated. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary if you saw the end of this very long video. And as always, take care.